as we begin to understand how to address these behavioral, emotional, and cognitive challenges that we've just gone over, the key piece of all of this is awareness, a sense of present mindfulness that can help us act with conscious intention from moment to moment. So how do we build up awareness about what we're doing? Well, it's a little bit like stepping back and observing yourself as if you were another person, separate the observer from the body that the observer inhabits and just watch yourself. A good exercise for this is the helicopter exercise, where you imagine you're watching yourself from a helicopter, and where do you go and what do you do that you can observe from that helicopter throughout your day. What do you notice about your routines, and how do you choose to spend your time, and where do you spend your time in comparison to your ideals, to get some of those high-level observations. The next awareness exercise that can help is the inner child. This is a really big one, but it all comes back to your adult self talking to your child self in a compassionate way about what your child self understands about the world, their beliefs, and how they chose to deal with the realities of their situation versus what your adult self is now capable of. So ask your child self, what are you afraid of? How do you protect yourself? And then ask your present self, do those behaviors still serve me? And how can I thank my child self for, addressing those challenges the way they did and reassuring them that now we can do it in a more beneficial way. Your adult self needs to reassure your child self that things are different now and they're safe to pursue the things that they want. Next one is inner guardians. Inner guardians is a really helpful exercise where we take 3 people that you could always count on to protect you and give you positive encouragement. These people can be fictional, they can be real, they can be people you know or people you don't know. It's okay to choose comic book characters for this. Just somebody that makes you feel safe and is always going to give you positive encouragement. And when you're struggling with something, consider those inner guardians. What would they say to you about your struggle? How would they make you feel about it and interpret the situation? What advice would they give you? And then once you've had some time to sort of cultivate these inner guardians and be in dialogue with them about some of your struggles, I think it's an interesting observation to look at it from the perspective of the guardians you chose. What do their qualities say about you as a person? And I think you'll find that the inner guardians you choose reflect your highest values and really who you are and who you want to be at your best. It's going to be some combination of those inner guardians. They will embody different aspects of you. The next one is inner castle. So this is just about starting with a room that's safe for you to be whatever you want to be with absolutely no external pressure. You are going to be able to listen to your own music, decorate however you want. It's totally safe and nobody can come in unless you allow it. And I recommend never inviting anybody else in there. And when you feel comfortable, maybe create some other mental rooms around this room, which are okay for other people to come into. But you can always have that safe space, which no one else is allowed in. This is the perfectly quarantined garden of your mind. This is where you're allowed to experience yourself and any thoughts, and you don't let any other thoughts from the outside world intrude on the sanctity of that. And that can be really nice to feel safe going through what you're going through and loving yourself. Outburst therapy is using sort of, some people call it like primal scream therapy, but it's really just having a nice outpouring of emotions. Having a good cry is like a very basic way. Screaming out in the woods. You can lay on your back in bed and kick your arms and legs. Or just maybe watch a movie that makes you cry. But having an outburst of emotions can be really cathartic and really put you in touch with expressing something that you're going through in a way that really demonstrates a heightened awareness of your state. Attitude and choice is just a reminder that it's important to look for new choices, which you can always make, and understand that your choices give you power and fulfillment. It's that sense of agency that's going to make you excited. The fact that you can express yourself and your curiosity about the world. Remember that you should always be You're always in motion, so don't resist that motion, and understand that that motion is composed of the choices about what you're doing moment to moment. So be empowered by the fact that you can make choices, and there's always new choices that are exciting out there if you're just open to receiving them. Then the thought and emotion record is really just keeping a record of your thoughts and emotions in your notebook, or you could use a mood tracking app to identify those common cycles that you go through. And when you encounter a challenge that feels like a failure, try to put it into context when you write about it or talk to someone about it. Ask yourself, could this setback have happened to anyone? And what could you have done differently? And this is going to make it a positive experience and give you an opportunity to come up with a useful statement for the next time something like this happens.